So when we hear about plastic pollution, what are the first items that comes to our mind? Plastic bottles, plastic straws, plastic bags. These are the most commonly talked about products, and I'm sure you probably are bored of hearing about them as well. But what if I told you there are those items that we don't even realize have plastic in them? Yes, these are items which have plastic sort of hiding in them. So in today's video, we are going to be covering 9 such items which have plastic kind of hidden in them. So firstly, let's talk about exfoliants. Yes, those products that are used to exfoliate our skin. And what do all of them have in common? Microbeads. And what are microbeads? These are tiny plastic particles that are less than 1 millimeter in diameter. So basically these are beads of plastic that are used in these skincare products to exfoliate our skin. These have been quite popular in a while now, and when we use them and then we wash it off, these microbeads just go into our water system, and our water treatment systems are unable to filter these tiny beads, and hence it ultimately goes into the oceans, goes and gets eaten by our marine animals, and finally it gets into our food. So I would really recommend that you avoid any skincare product which has microbeads in them. You can definitely go for other items which have better natural exfoliants in them, because these microbeads, trust me, are really not that great for our skin and definitely not good for the environment. So next comes wet wipes. So these are super popular and people just carry it around anywhere they go in their bags. But did you know that these wet wipes are not made of tissue paper or cotton as you may have thought? These are actually made of plastic polymers like polypropylene and polyethylene, and they do not decompose at all after you just throw it off. And these are also very famous culprits for being stuck in our sewage system, because a lot of people just feel free to just throw it into the closet and just flush it off. But unlike normal tissue paper, it does not get dissolved by water, and it just goes and clogs the sewage system and has become a huge problem. You could just use a really good cotton handkerchief instead. And even if you have a baby and you're using the wet wipes, I would really ask you to avoid that and just use cloth, or just use normal tissue paper. If you cannot avoid disposable ones, just use normal tissue paper because it will decompose, unlike these wet wipes. The next one is non-woven shopping bags. So when different states across the country started banning plastic bags, there was a successor in its place, which is the non-woven clothing bags. So these are really common in our supermarket these days, and we ideally mistake it to be cloth. But let me reassure you, there is nothing natural about this. It is basically made of polypropylene fibers. So these are just woven together to form it and make it look like a cloth bag, but there is no cloth in it. This is not made of cotton or any other natural fibers. This is basically just fully made of plastic. I would just really ask all of you to just carry your own cotton shopping bags whenever you go out for shopping, or just keep it in your bag so that you are not tricked into getting one of these from your local supermarkets. If you've been in this family for a while now, you probably know that I am such a huge tea person. I love my chai. I have it every day several times. And for me, when I go to a cafe, I cannot order flavored teas because 99% of the time it comes with hot water and a tea bag. And the crazy thing is, it's not just cafes that use tea bags. I've seen households where they use tea bags, which drives me crazy, because why would you do that when you can buy loose tea in bulk, which is much cheaper than these tea bags? Why would you opt for tea bags? If you did not know yet, tea bags contain lining of a plastic polymer, namely polypropylene, which is what is used to maintain the shape of the tea bag when it is immersed in a hot liquid. And because of these plastic linings, it makes the tea bags almost impossible to recycle. Already remember that these tea bags are soiled, and In addition, when there is a plastic lining which prevents any kind of decomposition, it means it just ends at the landfill. So please avoid buying tea bags and try and stick to loose tea powder. And even when you go out to a cafe and you think that there is more chances of them serving you with tea bag, avoid it. And I'm sure you will be able to find cafes which do use loose tea leaves, and then you can just stick to them. How much have we, when as kids, loved using glitter? And I mean, it makes us think about parties and events where we just throw glitter or just use it for dressing up. But did you ever think these are tiny, minuscule pieces of colored plastic? And these really end up just being washed into our rivers and seas. And these are such an intense waste as microplastic, and it just even goes into our skin. We really don't need to be ingesting plastic by ourselves, do we? It's harmful for our body, it's harmful for the environment, so basically it's harmful for everybody. So why do you need to use it? Can we just think about whether it is useful for us or whether it is just a useless item? Because that's what I feel. So you may or may not have noticed that I don't use nail polishes anymore. I haven't used a nail polish in over a year and a half or 2 years now, just because I felt it was kind of pointless. I know it's a very subjective product, but if you did not know, nail polishes are made of plastic polymers. Again, yeah, it's one of those products that you never thought was made of plastic, but it is made of plastic. And yes, it does dissolve in acetone when you are trying to remove it, but when it chips or you just try to chip it and remove it, it again ends up as microplastic. And even if you do use like a cotton ball to remove the nail polish, once that cotton ball has that nail polish in it, that part of it will never decompose. And if you are somebody who's adamant and loves using their nail polish, then I would maybe ask you to go and check out water-based nail polishes. But I feel like this is something that you could maybe think about, and if you really feel like you don't find any point using it, it is a type of plastic that definitely you can do without. The next one is our aluminum cans. So these are our cans that we get our fizzy drinks in, or we get our canned food in. All these are basically usually made of aluminum, and the problem is that it is not made of entirely aluminum. It's usually made of paper, aluminum and a thin layer of plastic. And this plastic is what prevents the aluminum from reacting with the product inside it. The problem comes when it goes to recycling, because it becomes a huge headache to separate each of these materials and then recycle them separately. If you didn't know, aluminum is 100% recyclable product. It does not downgrade after each recycling. It maintains its quality even through each cycle of recycling. The problem comes when the same recycled aluminum is again used as a can. It again needs a new layer of plastic lining in it, which again has become more and more virgin plastic that is usually used, and because of which aluminum cans, even though it can be recycled, it can be a little problematic. Cigarette butts. Are you surprised that you saw this item in this list? Because I'm very sure that most of you had no idea that these are made of plastic. So these are usually made of cellulose acetate, which is a man-made plastic. And if you didn't know, cigarette butts are one of the most abundant forms of plastic waste all around the world. I would just ask all of you to try and dispose of these cigarette butts responsibly using ashtrays or trash bins. Don't just throw them anywhere on the ground and just leave them there, because the butts will not decompose for over 10 years, and also the chemicals in that cigarette butt can leach the soil and also get to marine animals and our fresh water. So just try and be a responsible and mindful smoker, at least if you're not willing to quit. And the final product is table salt. Yes, the one product that we eat every single day has some plastic elements in it. Again, this is not purposefully, but this is a way of the plastic that we simply just mindlessly dispose of entering our food stream. So basically what happens is that the areas from where the sea salt is mined to make our table salt usually has some kind of plastic pollution happening there, and that plastic just breaks down into microplastics, and those enter these salt mines and get mixed up with the salt and finally enter our food. So one suggestion from me would be to try and switch to Himalayan pink salt, because those have the most purest of salt and doesn't contain any kind of chemicals or plastic mostly. So that could be an option for you if you want to switch using table salt. So I'm sure that some of these 9 products were definitely ones that you did not think had plastic in them in any way. So I hope that you have been warned by this video, or even well informed about the products that you may be using every single day. I will also have a part 2 of this video come out very soon, so make sure to stay tuned for it. But if you did like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and also make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I will see you again in the next video. So until then, bye bye.